Good Thursday morning, East Tennessee. My name is David Aldridge, Chief Meteorologist of Captain Accurate Weather, coming to you by way of the Captain Accurate Weather Command Center. Well, I got to tell you this, it's interesting we're not having the weather challenges that we had yesterday with the rain. We have temperatures right now that are currently in the 50s. You can take a look full screen. We're at 54 degrees at McGee-Tyson Airport. It's 49 in Jamestown. Our friends in Crossville starting off at 51 this morning, and it's 55 in Sevierville, 52 in Morristown. So many of us are in the 50s, which is kind of strange, right? Because the normal high this time of year is now 59. So we're very warm for this time of year. Yesterday's high was only 58, so we haven't moved much in the last 12, even 24 hours. If you put this in context, I think we moved all but 4 degrees during the course of your Wednesday. But today, of course, is Thursday, the 7th of March. It is currently 53 Bell County in Middlesboro at this hour. And notice there's a little bit of fog, or at least low clouds, that might have reduced visibility down to a mile in Greenville, Wartburg, as well as maybe in parts of the Smokies. So there may be some challenges there as well. If you're on the call, I just want to say good morning to you. Happy Thursday. It's almost Friday, not quite Friday. But if you're on the call, love to say hi to you on Facebook. Let me know. I'm also on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you can be the first. Oh, Steve Stone. He's quick on the draw. He writes, good morning. He's got a very happy face there. Glad to have Steve there. And if you have a comment, love to be able to give a shout out to you in a favorable way here on a Thursday morning, the 7th of March. As far as the radar, there's still some possibility of some drizzle that may be a function of the low clouds and fog, but as you can see, the ultimate Doppler radar looks pretty quiet at this point, and I don't expect it to get much more activity probably until tomorrow, and certainly on Friday night, Saturday, we'll be watching the possibility of more rain. By the way, Madlock Tire Service and Auto Repair, East Tennessee's #1 tire service and auto repair since 1953. Check them out if you need an oil change, maybe you need your tires rotated, you may be in desperate need for a whole new set of tires, and if so, no better place than Madlock this winter and spring. Check them out. They're in Knoxville. They're in Maryville. They're also located in Lenoir City. You can check them out there, and you can find them in McMinn County, in Athens, and Hardin Valley in West Knox County. Check them out and tell them Captain Accurate sent you. I think you'll be impressed with the modern conveniences. MadlockTireService.com. You could set up your own appointment at your convenience as well online. Radar is showing pretty quiet weather all across the state. Some gray areas. I'm looking at Hickory, North Carolina. They've got some dense fog advisories there, and there's some concerns for flooding in green across parts of Georgia and Alabama this morning. More thunderstorms can be found in Arkansas on the west side, and certainly north of Dallas. They're getting more activity up there in Oklahoma as well. Where's the snow? Well, I see some in Minnesota. I see some in South Dakota, and there's certainly some in northern sections of Maine this morning. So that's where most, if not all, of the rain is at this particular time. But I just want to say good morning to you if you're on the call. Would love to give you a shout out. I'm looking over here at Facebook. In fact, let me come back on camera and just say hello to you. We'll scroll down and say hello to you. If this will work, I think it'll work. Usually it works unless it's still loading. But yeah, if you have, on the YouTube, I mentioned Steve Stone's over here. He's over here. If we go back to Facebook, hopefully we'll get updates here. Boop, there it comes. I believe it's coming there. It's slow. There it is. I see Michael Norman. He says, I need no more snow. He says, no more cold. And he says it's time for warm weather. There's a season for everything, right, Michael? I think he's on to something. But could Mother Nature just throw a few curveballs? You know, just a few left in the arsenal. We'll see what happens. We'll talk about that. By the way, I should tell you this. Our high was 58 yesterday. Our low was 54, so there was just a 4-degree movement. We picked up 0.89 inches of rain at McGee-Tyson Airport, so it was a sizable rain yesterday. The record high today is 80 from 1983. We're not going to be anywhere near that. I suspect 67 is where we'll be today. And then low temperature, record low, 5 from 1899. Sun's up at 6:57 just in a few minutes from now. Fred says, good morning, David. Freddie says, I'm ready for real spring, David. I think there's some of us who are really ready for that change of season, and it officially takes place 11:06 in the evening on Tuesday the 19th. Tuesday, March 19th. What is that, about 12 days from now? But we'll say hello to a new season. Season's greetings in about 12 days for sure. Notice there's still some winter concerns in purple. Parts of Oklahoma, Nebraska and Colorado, they're dealing with some snow still in parts there. But let me show you the future rainfall. It doesn't show much at all through 5 o'clock today. I mentioned some drizzle may be found. And again, when you see 0.01, this may be just model noise. But there's the potential for some specks of rain simply from the fog and low clouds. But as we move into tomorrow, by 5 o'clock, many of us may pick up a 1/10 of an inch or more. Looks like it's a little heavier on the west side of I-75. By 5 o'clock Friday, a little bit less for Greenville, for Newport, and for Morristown by 5 p.m. Friday. But Friday night, and things get a little more aggressive. You can see the rain filling in over a ½ inch to an inch down toward Athens, maybe Kingston, 0.69. We go into Saturday afternoon and we fill in. So many of us will pick up anywhere from a ½ inch to an inch the way things are trending. And this takes us to about 10 o'clock on Saturday. It'll dry out nicely on Sunday. But if you are interested in more rain, maybe certainly for the garden, we had such a dry autumn, such a dry fall season. It's nice that we're getting some rain that's coming in. Again, sadly, or maybe bad timing for the weekend. Tracking some clouds. These are the low clouds that we're watching here on this image. And most of us will be dealing with clouds, fog, hazy sun today. Temperature dimension was 52 currently. In Oak Ridge, it's 55 in Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, and it's 55 in Rockwood and Harriman, as well as Kingston at this particular moment. Not much in the way of wind, 6 miles an hour. I suspect today it'll be generally 3 to 8 out of the northeast. 3 to 8 mile an hour winds is what I expect, and that's what we're seeing most of it right now. Temperatures, 54 in Nashville. These are current readings. Asheville's 52, it's 55 in Memphis, and 47 in Birmingham. Those are the current readings. Got to show you this. Sun's up at 6:57. That's just about 11 minutes from now, and we'll be going down at 6:37. So to Freddie's point, yes, spring is showing signs of coming on strong. I think Michael Norman would agree. There are signs that spring is coming on strong, especially when you got longer days in the offering. By the way, the bus stop, just 2 more days, and then spring break begins at the end of school on Friday. Bus stop forecast, we're talking 54 out the door, 65 between 2 and 3:30 for pickup. But I think you'll find a good blend of clouds, fog, hazy sun today. A little bit brighter, I think, for the second half of your afternoon. But here are my expected highs today. If we hit 70 today, Madisonville, Tellico Plains, would not surprise me. If we hit 68 for La Follette, that too would not surprise me. But with temperatures about 67, Oak Ridge, Knoxville, I think most of us will be in the mid to upper 60s today. Not a bad way to finish the afternoon, no doubt. I want to say good morning to you. Alice says good morning. Happy Thursday, says Marilyn Bell, just waiting for the daylight saving time to take place. It begins this weekend. 2 a.m. becomes 3 a.m. Unless you're going to go to bed early. You don't want to change the clocks forward 1 hour this week. A good time to check the smoke detectors. Hallie Gibson says good morning. Glad to have Hallie here. And just want to mention to you that we have, temperatures this afternoon. Going to be well above average. Normal high is 59. We're expecting a high of 67, so we're going to be well above average here on a Thursday. Lots of clouds to the west. Those clouds will be streaming in from west to east. Some of this, again, will bring in some more high clouds for the rest of the afternoon, but clouds and hazy sun today. If we see some spots of drizzle, I think it's a function of the clouds and fog, but we'll talk about that as maybe focused on between now and midday. Afternoon, I don't think drizzle will be in the offering, but more rain showers develop on Friday. And then we've got some showers and storms coming in Friday night and some showers and storms coming in on Saturday. So that's the way things are shaping up. By the way, it's 6:48. Got to show you this if you like to look at what's going on around the country. You tell me which part of the country is dealing with spring and which part of the country is still dealing with winter. Oh, yes, that does look like a 10. Is that 10? I see 10. My little eye spies a 10 up in Bismarck. But that's really not what it is. Because if you really look at, that's just the thermometer in Bismarck. Here we got -1, +1, -7. These numbers are pretty amazing. And then you go across into Canada, they're also in the single digits. -18, you didn't just say -8. Oh, it's cold. It's cold. So if the purple area, I do this just to establish this purple area is the bitter cold of winter. And some of it looks like it's trying to dip down into the Great Lakes in the coming days and weeks. So I don't want to say we're done with the winter season, but it is trending towards spring. There's no getting around that. It's 17 in Billings, but it's negative sub-zero temperatures in parts of northern Montana. And maybe you'd say they're used to it, but I guess they're used to it on March the 7th. That's where they are at this particular moment. Very cold indeed. In fact, let's focus on the purple just for a second. You can see it up there toward Calgary, up toward Winnipeg. You'll notice that we have the possibility of getting cold this weekend. I would anticipate some mountain snowflakes in the Smokies this weekend, Saturday night and Sunday morning. That's a possibility. Look how cold it gets into Kentucky, West Virginia, and East Tennessee at 5,000 feet. So if it's cold up there, it could certainly be cold enough to flake down here, and the Smokies will be more susceptible to that this weekend. But that's March the 10th. We're going into March the 10th. That's 8:30 in the morning. So that's the real cold air. Then it starts to retreat. And much like the tide at the beach, the tide at the ocean, it comes and goes. Winnipeg turns purple again, and there looks like they're trying to push down some of this cold Arctic air, even as late as the 23rd of March. And you'd say, well, wait a minute, that's technically spring. That's right. If you can have winter days, or let me rephrase that, if you can have spring days in winter, you can have winter days in spring. It just sometimes is the way the cookie crumbles. And this would technically be a spring day, but you wouldn't know it if it's this cold. If it's this cold on the 23rd, you say, well, this groundhog, he said it'd be an early spring. Maybe. I'm not sold on that at all, especially when you can see that kind of cold air on March 23rd and beyond. There are signs that we're going to keep that pattern going into early April, as my premium members are well-versed, well aware. Snow potential, if we're totally done with winter, there should be no blue paint bombs on this map. But there are. And there are still some. We won't really know until we get within 3 days of an event, but I don't want to write it off. I don't believe we're totally done. And we know, if you've been here a long time, you know we have redbud winter, dogwood winter. We have like a half a dozen little winters. But if they include some snow, then who knows? Maybe there's still a few interesting cards to play with Mother Nature going into this winter-spring season. Right now it's 54 degrees at the airport. We have a north wind at 6, relative humidity 97%, and I would suspect there's a little bit of fog in your neighborhood this morning. Valley Planner takes us up to 67 this afternoon. Clouds, fog, drizzle, possible before midday, but temperatures will climb well into the mid to upper 60s. If you're on the call, I just want to say good morning to you again. If you're on the call, Linda Rice says, good morning, David, Team Spring. Brenda says she's convinced spring is here. I'm going to save that comment, Brenda, and I'm going to repost it on the 23rd of March. If that verifies, you'll be like, I don't think spring is here. Maybe. Maybe there will be a reversal of saying, well, maybe there's something to this. But certainly there's going to be some severe weather this week in the deep south. I'm going to talk about that here in the next segment here because Storm Prediction Center maps are lighting up across much of the deep south in the next couple of days. Hallie Gibson says good morning, and Linda Rice says she is on Team Spring. And there's good reason to think that now that days are getting longer, we've got some spring-like days potentially down the road. Here's my expectation for rain. One thing that jumps off this page, hopefully, is the 80%. That would be Friday night. So if you've got plans, if you've got plans with your significant other, you'll want to grab the umbrella. Pack it for sure so that you're ready for some showers and maybe even some thunderstorms. But that rain opportunity will persist into Saturday as well. So the precipitation chances drop off quite a bit next week as it will get more sun-filled. Here are the Storm Prediction Center maps. Focus on the yellow for a moment, because you're going to find quite a few maps here with the scattered severe storms possible. Level 2, which they call a slight risk, really it's just scattered severe storms, that might cause some wind damage in some areas and maybe an isolated tornado. There's some possibility of that. There's 2 yellow areas today. The first one is in Texas primarily, from Dallas-Fort Worth down toward Abilene, Waco, and San Angelo. If you go north toward Oklahoma City and northwest Oklahoma, they too are under that scattered severe storm risk today. And Tulsa, Springfield, Fayetteville, Arkansas, well, they're listed under the isolated severe storms in dark green. Obviously nothing going on here, but watch how this continues to grow. This is tomorrow, same storm system. It's now progressing to the south and east, and it now moves into Memphis for isolated. But Dallas still under the scattered, Tyler, Jackson, Monroe, Pine Bluff, and College Station down toward Texas A&M. If we slide to the east, places like Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Mobile, Montgomery will be under the scattered severe storm risk tomorrow. Huntsville, isolated as well. Friday, just some thunderstorms for us, but the nastiest of storms, as we'll hear, I'm sure, on social media. Saturday, potentially some nasty storms toward Atlanta. Also into Tallahassee, Savannah, Charleston, and Myrtle Beach, as well as Charlotte for the nastiest scattered severe storms on Saturday. So it's hard to escape it if you're headed southbound. If you are traveling to the south, just make sure you're aware. And these maps, by the way, can be found on the free Captain Accurate Weather app. One of the few apps that you're going to find that gives you local information. Maybe the only one that gives you local information, and Pete Michaels traffic, and day 1, day 2, day 3. These maps are very helpful if you're trying to plan on traveling. Maybe you have family that live in these areas. They should be alerted that there's going to be some nasty weather developing in their hometown or county. So keep an eye on that for sure. Here's the future cast for today. 8 o'clock, no worries. 12 noon, maybe a drop of drizzle before 12 noon. There's some green there just north of Raleigh, but really not going to see much. Most of the rain that's back toward Arkansas, Missouri starts to slide to the east, but it stays out of our way today. That's 5 o'clock this afternoon. Warm front slowly pushing it along. It's inching along, heading into the wee hours of your Friday morning. And tomorrow morning, if there's not a stray shower overnight, most of it's going to slide in here on daybreak Friday. As you can see, there's 7 a.m. sliding into town. Yes, I still have about a 60% chance, but then once this warm front lifts by Friday night, I think it's going to increase our opportunity for rain to 80%, and that kind of parades in like so. That's 10 o'clock, 10:15, and then you can see it really gets going. There will be more likely some sunny breaks on Saturday as the front passes by, but most of the rain will be on the front end of your Saturday, maybe lingering in scattered form thereafter. And oh yes, you said some snowflakes. There they are. They look like they're really apparent up in West Virginia, but may work their way toward the mountains of East Tennessee, Northeast Tennessee. Even the Smokies might have a few snowflakes, especially above 4,000 feet. That's going to be our expectation. Meanwhile, the futurecast shows as we head toward midday today, temperatures and clouds should maybe break a bit, but 12 noon, about 61. That's not too bad. Heading into midday, 3:30, about high temperature, about 67. That's where I expect to be. There's 4 o'clock. 67 degrees, Oak Ridge, Knoxville. Could very well be near 70 for our friends in Tellico Plains and Madisonville, down in Monroe County. As we head into tonight, a stray shower may be found late, but I think more clouds can be expected. And then by tomorrow morning, daybreak, we'll be looking at the radar again. And here comes more showers coming in stages. By midday, it may ebb and flow, and then try to come back a little bit later in the afternoon. So chance of rain again, still about 60, I think, 60% chance tomorrow. Some of the models are still having a hard time with that warm front, but it gets more aggressive Friday night. You can see why. Some of that red would suggest thunder in Kingston or Crossville. That would be 11 o'clock Friday night. Some thunder boomers coming through town, but nothing of the severe nature expected here. Here's your forecast now. It's 6:57. Clouds, fog, hazy sun with some drizzle possible. I mentioned the winds 3 to 8 miles per hour out of the northeast. As we slide into tonight, looking for today, 70 for Tellico Plains, 66 for Sevierville, about 64 for Morristown, White Pine, and Talbot. Today, looking for a high of 70 in Chattanooga, 67 in Knoxville, and 68 for Jackson, Tennessee. But tonight, we're dropping down to 50. That's not much of a drop. More clouds, and if we get some showers, they'll be stray and they'll be late. I don't expect they'll be that numerous, but they'll be on the increase towards sunrise. Heading into tonight, 49 for Oneida, 47 for Morristown, 48 for Newport, and 48 for Kingston. So those are my expected lows for tonight. Taking a look at your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville, East Tennessee. 65 for your Friday. I got the 80% chance of rain there. And of course, as Marilyn Bell duly noted, this is the changing of the clocks weekend. I call it the 47-hour weekend because we lose an hour. I guess perception-wise, we lose an hour because we adjust the clocks, and it's a great time to adjust or check the batteries in your smoke detectors. 54 is a lot cooler on Sunday versus Saturday, but I will say this, temperatures are very colder, or they're much colder. They're frosty cold back on Monday morning and on Tuesday morning for sure. We're back in the lower to mid-30s, so that's where things are at this particular time. I want to say hi to you, say good, thank you for your time. I got a lot of interesting things to talk about on checking in with you. Ed says, good morning, have a great day. Thank you, Ed. Russell Cosby says the groundhog lied. Yeah, we'll see if he did. We'll see if that sentiment actually gets amplified, because he was quick to point out spring's here. So I think everybody just mindset was they're ready to get their lawn mowing gear ready to go. I'm sure that's probably going to happen too. But we'll keep an eye if there's not some winter days in spring. Because we've had our fair share of spring days in winter, that's for sure. If you're on YouTube, I want to pop back over here real quick and say good morning, says Mary Flannery. Good morning. She says, love it, Thunder Boomer. She likes those. She likes those indeed. Marilyn Bell says, me over here with Steve Stone. Support David on YouTube. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Our YouTube platform continues to grow, and I do appreciate your support. Make sure, by the way, I believe if you haven't checked out the premium service, Captain Accurate Premium Service, is like getting 2 streams of information all on the same platform. In fact, I am going to be sending out, my goal is to send out a email to my premium members today. Got special information to pass along to them. But if you are interested in joining us, just go hit the subscribe button at the top of the Facebook post or simply go to CaptainAccurate.com for more details. Well, anyway, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate, so weather doesn't surprise you. We'll see you here next time. Take care.